Hi, everybody. Today I have a very, very special guest with me. I have writer and director of the upcoming Christmas romance, The Christmas Writer, Christin Baker. Kristen?
Hey,
Oh, well, first I gotta say, look, I'm a guy, I'm not usually into a lot of these kinds of
clearly.
movies. Yes, clearly. I think the bald head kind of gave it away, but I will say I am always a sucker for just cutesy little romances and holiday movies. And I
Mhm.
do think The Christmas Writer is just a nice little warm feeling movie for the holiday season.
Aw.
So, for those of you watching, the Christmas Rider will release in select theaters. Before we go any further, Kristen, it'll release in LA on November 11th, San Francisco on November 16th, DC on November 18th, Atlanta on November 21st, and Nashville on December 3rd, and then will be available on video on demand thereafter. Now, let's get into the nice nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, baby.
Oh my Lord. So first, let's get the obvious question out of the way.
Sure.
This is a Christmas movie set at around Christmas time. However, usually most Christmas films are not actually shot in and around Christmas. So when exactly was this movie shot?
I I'm almost hesitant to say it. I mean, it's not like you can't look back and see. It was shot in June. Yeah.
And in Ohio, right?
In Ohio. Yes.
Oh no. So and everyone in the movie is wearing long sleeve like clothes and it gets so much. So what was that like, all things considered?
Yeah. So here's what I knew we were going to be filming in June. So what I did was I set as many things inside as I could because I knew. Look, it was really going to be hard to control all the green, right? Like outside exteriors, the grass was especially green, and the trees had the greenest leaves you've ever seen, and things were flowering and budding. And so you'll notice that a lot of the movie tends to be inside. They're indoor scenes because I can control that. I can close the curtains and have, so that you can't see all the green outside. I can put so many Christmas decorations that you're distracted by the Santas and the Christmas tree and the stringing of lights. And then if we were shooting outside, really being incredibly cognizant of how do we get the least amount of green things. In fact, in one of the opening scenes where you see the bookstore, there were flowering plants in the outdoor pot that my editor had to get rid of and replace with a an evergreen, something that would be green in winter. So there were a lot of things. It also got darker very late. So we had to really think about schedule when we had nighttime scenes as well. So those are kind of the things that I really, really thought about when I was writing the script itself.
And speaking of, I want to get into the inspiration. One of the big themes that revolves around this movie is writer's block, as our main
Mhm.
character, Noelle, which, by the way, kind of name right there. I did find her story about, her writer's block, which came from, I won't spoil why she gets writer's block, but it happens very early on, and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, that'll kind of do it. But
Yeah, yeah.
with writers like Stephen King and even Aaron Sorkin talking about putting in their own sort of struggles into the things that they write, I'm wondering, was writer's block something that you were dealing with at the time of writing?
Um, no, but it
Oh.
was something that I have dealt with very much in the past. So it was easy to really kind of dig into the frustration that Noelle felt because she had been churning out books, one a year, for the past, we don't give a number, but in my mind it was at least like 5 to 6 years. And it like she said in the movie, like it just came easy to her. And when it doesn't, and a lot of it is like an internal struggle, right? And I think that's what a lot of writer's block is. It's something that we get in our head about. It's something that has happened to us that we can't let go. So that frustration was very easy for me to like kind of tap into.
Well, that's at least good. I feel like every writer can at least somewhat resonate with that. But if writer's block wasn't necessarily the main focal point and inspiration behind this movie, what drew you towards it then? What drew you to go, you want to know what? I have to write this movie. This is a story I have to tell.
Well, I am a co-writer on the movie. So the original script did come from someone else. So I kind of picked this up. It was pitched to me and I was like, "Oh, let's co-write this. Like this is fantastic." So someone already came to me with the idea of the writer's block. And I think but that's what clicked in my head as the producer, director and co-writer was I was like, this is not something that I've seen a lot of Hallmark or holiday movies deal with is like a successful writer. And the small town, I mean, I love a good small town story. So there were a lot of components in this that was very attractive to me.
And the screenplay was co-written by Katie Williams. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
that is
Um,
correct. Yeah.
And what was the collaboration element like? Because I know sometimes when it comes to writing, screenplays, there are usually butting heads of ideas. There's always this
Yeah.
mad scramble for credits, but you guys are both given the title of written by. So,
Yeah.
what was it like co-writing a screenplay? What was the collaboration like?
So I've done this on many of the movies that I've done. Like this is my fifth holiday rom-com, seventh or eighth movie overall, and I've always collaborated with another writer. And I
Hmm.
think for me, the exciting part of these is it's always been a new writer. It's always been a first-time writer, and those writers are usually um, the easiest to collaborate with because they just want to see their project being made. And so a lot of times, if I'll give like an early note or an early idea, and I can kind of gauge how receptive the writer is to it. And then I'll be like, if well, they've all been she's, I should say that. And if she's incredibly receptive, then I know, okay, this is a person I can collaborate with. And so you kind of, once you know that there's a give and take, then it's kind of like it's all in service to the greater story. So everything is what's going to make the best story possible.
Well, hey, that's always at least good. A fun and also equally working collaborative process usually does provide a solid script,
Yeah.
as when there's no butting of the heads, it
Yeah.
usually leads to something easier.
Yeah, well, and I think healthy conversation is always good, right? I mean, it's always it's there's a butting of the heads where you can't come together, and then there's a butting of the heads where you're like, would this be the motivation? What's the other motivation? So it's kind of, it's not I don't shy away from, I guess, creative, collaborative confrontation. But when someone is just stuck on a position that is just, they're always just a hard no. That to me is a red flag.
Obviously, I get the idea of being, stubborn-headed and being like, this is mine. I get that,
Right.
but the one thing I've always learned in even making my own things is that compromise and collaboration are two huge fundamental aspects in making any sort of film. Sometimes a shot idea that a director has is not totally feasible, and that's when a cinematographer comes in and says, I think this is better, and usually that winds up creating a better workflow overall. Um,
Absolutely.
Exactly. But moving along from that process, this is a romance after all. It
Yes.
is, and with a good romance, usually comes good chemistry, which thankfully your two main leads, Noelle and Callie, played beautifully by Shelby Allison Brown and, ironically enough, Callie, is it Bustle? Callie
Yeah,
Bustle?
bustle.
Have done a phenomenal job, make selling a believable romance.
Yeah.
Now, I always ask this with the directors I interview. Sometimes when it comes to things like this, they are either an allotted amount of time to help with rehearsals and building this chemistry, or sometimes it's just, look, we don't have time for this because we're working on a very tight budget, and it's
Yeah.
they find the chemistry in the process. Now, I do wonder, um, what was it like working with them, and was this chemistry built through rehearsing, or was this just we don't have time, let's see how this goes, and it just built naturally?
Well, we did chemistry reads. So we had two um, actors that we called back for chemistry reads for each uh, person, for each character. And so it was just really, and it was over Zoom. So, I mean, it's really hard to get chemistry to kind of see it and to get it over Zoom. So, if you can see sparks already in that moment, then you know, like, okay, they're going to be able to bring it on set. And so that's kind of what we really relied heavily on. And so that was like very helpful.
Well, one, that's at least good. And yeah, I agree with when it comes to Zoom reads, it's not necessarily the same as being in person and actually feeling
Yeah.
that same level of
Yeah.
energy that I think is necessary for, something like a romance. Um,
It is critical. So you have to, be able to see it in some form or fashion.
Precisely, precisely. And thankfully here, Shelby and Callie had impeccable chemistry, and you felt the drama, you felt the nice intimate moments. Um, but when it comes to working with actors, sometimes there's agreements, sometimes there are disagreements, and you have to keep a certain level of professionality, which is why I kind of want to go into one of the side characters in this movie. I want to go into Jillian,
Hmm.
who plays one of the predominant side characters, and sorry, not side characters, a supporting character.
Hmm.
Now, Stacey Lee Powell is very, very good in this movie. However, she means a lot more to this movie than I think we give her credit for, because she is actually your fiance, is she
He
not?
is.
Oh,
Yes.
and so I've talked about this before with other people, but I want to get your perspective on this because I know every director and actor who have a real relationship have different methods of working.
Mhm.
Could you elaborate on that? What was it like directing essentially your fiance?
Yeah. Well, she plays the agent. She plays Noelle's agent, and she doesn't have the. I knew it would be okay because first she didn't have any romantic scenes. She didn't have
Right.
any kissing scenes, and I think for me personally that w would be difficult. So I will just go ahead and say like that would have been really hard for me. So, and I also like I also think Stacey had the physical look that I really wanted. Like especially because she was one of the early people that we cast actually, because she was like right here. But I just saw her as Jillian. I knew she could play fierce. I knew, even though she's like one of the nicest people on the planet, I knew she could bring like the I don't want to say the ambition, but the pushiness of Jillian, but because she's so nice, like in real life, that she would always have like a softness to her where she didn't come off as like ruthless, if that makes sense. Because I didn't want Jillian to be mean. I wanted her to be passionate. And so that's, I think, what Stacey really brought to it that I knew she could.
No, because Jillian as a character is definitely business first and foremost, which we do see in a lot of movies like this. There needs to be a character who's like the boss, who's about business, but she was never cruel or necessarily. Oh, sorry about that. One of my blinds is currently clicking, but she never comes across as like cruel or overbearing. And I was especially kind of taken aback by Jordan Myrick's Paulette because you would think it would fall into the trope of, Jillian being cruel to Paul. I am so sorry. I have no
That's all
idea
right.
what is going on over here. Um, that is absolutely
The
that's
blind
entirely
wants to be
unprofessional.
heard.
Stop it, you. But I wanted to get into the working dynamic, even though Jillian and Paulette don't take up a large portion of the screen time here. Their dynamic is still one that I think sticks out because
Oh, good.
they you expect Jillian to be cruel to Paulette. And don't get me wrong, there is one specific scene where you kind of see a little bit of that, but then again, considering the context behind that scene, you understand why Jillian treats Paulette in a certain fashion. But I'm wondering, because it seems Jillian and Paulette had a lot more chemistry and a lot more history between the two of them that I don't think we necessarily see on screen. So did Stacey and Jordan, work with you to kind of develop some sort of like intricate background, or was it just something that happened between their
They
performances?
just had it. Like they just had it when they came to set. And like the first day that they were together were all the office scenes that you see take place in Jillian's office. So it was like a long day in that office because there's the opening scene, which is like a very long scene with the three. Then, then you have Stacy in there doing a phone call, and then we had, the other scene with Jordan at the end, um I don't want to give anything away, but
The scene at the bookstore. Let's just say the scene at the bookstore.
oh, well, yeah, the scene at the bookstore, but then you had the other one in Jillian's office where they find out like
Right, right. They
what
find
happened with the
out.
book. And so I don't they yeah, I think Jordan and Stacy just like really clicked in the hair and makeup room, and like really there was just I mean, like Stacy was great. I knew she'd bring it. And Jordan did just bring this like really unique character to Paulette where, and again, like I wanted Paulette to kind of worship Jillian or look up to her, and that's what was brought forward. So that's all I needed to say to Jordan, and she was off to the races with that character.
No, and I mean, props to you and props to them because there are a lot of really good relationships and a lot of good chemistry moments that are found within this movie because this is very much a character-driven movie.
Yeah.
But those two, anytime they're on screen, it flowed so naturally that I can't
Oh,
help but give them props because to find out that it's just them spending a little bit of time together beforehand and then just those performances emerging from
yeah.
that, I think speaks volumes to both of their capabilities as actresses.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, this is the first time I'm getting feedback on someone's impression of the film too, Noah. So I think I'm just like really enjoying like you kind of bringing forward like that is something that like really spoke to you. So I'm really excited.
No, I thankfully my mom is a huge Hallmark fan. Like literally it's like she's making something in the kitchen, she throws on something Hallmark. So I'm like, you
Yeah.
want to know what? I just kind of need like a little bit of like that perspective. And I
Yeah.
can tell a good Hallmark movie from a bad one because if my
Okay.
mom's not paying attention, then that's how I know, oh, this is superfluous. But there are a couple scenes in this movie that I think really differentiated. And it's a lot more of the smaller, more dramatic moments, the ones that you don't normally see.
Mm.
And it's, like I said, it's the one near the end where there's this reveal, a sense of betrayal, we'll say. But it's, even my mom was just eating and she just,
Oh,
like she's looking, I'm just like, okay, that's how I know she actually likes this. That like, it's actually nice seeing the audience that this is meant for actually get invested. And even I
I
was just
love
kind
it.
of like, excuse
Yeah.
me, what the heck?
Yeah.
Huh? But no, I definitely found myself at times like falling into the just the whole story and
Oh,
being
good.
it being just like stupidly invested. Like I have seen, like I never thought I would have gotten invested in a movie like this. And even then I'm just kind of like, what is going on? What is going to happen next? But
Yeah.
enough of that.
I love
I
it.
I do want to know, and from your perspective, because I know we don't got a lot of time left.
Yeah.
But I think you as the co-writer and director of this movie, I want to know, what is it that you personally would like for the audience to take away from the movie, whether that be a message or a theme or just a certain emotion?
Well, I think the first thing that I always try to do with my, Christmas romance movies, because there are so many straight movies that are in this genre that come out each year from Hallmark or Lifetime or Amazon or Netflix, that it's like the people who love these movies, like your mom, they love the tropes. They love the storytelling. They love the beats that are very consistent that they're used to. And so my first goal is for those who are in the lesbian community or appreciate a, two female driven romance, that they see themselves reflected in these Christmas, you know, fabulous, cheesy Christmas Hallmark cotton candy movies. And so that's the first thing that I want, is because there are lots of people who love this genre, but just don't see themselves reflected in it. And so I always want people to take away that the lesbian or sapphic community deserves a cheesy Christmas movie with Christmas trees and tree farms and mistletoes and misunderstandings and coming together at the end and as much as anyone else. And so that's the first thing I want to happen.
And look, I think it's pretty obvious, straight,
Yeah.
obviously. But but one thing that I particularly like with gay characters is, and this is just me, I don't mean to pardon any sort of offense, but I've always kind of not liked gay characters where it's like them being gay
Right.
is like it's like they're gay and like, okay, what else? I don't know. That's
Right. And that's it that defines them. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, but here, this is still a Christmas movie, a cheesy Hallmark Christmas movie, first and foremost, and it just so
Absolutely.
happens to have a gay
It just so
character.
happens. Yeah. And there's the grandma, there's the little kid, there's, the antagonist, there's the support, the community. And so I think like you sat down and watched it with your grandma. And so I want to be able to, like, my mom's straight and she loves Hallmark movies. And so I love that I can sit down with my mom and we can both watch this and enjoy it. And she can find the things that she loves about the Christmas holiday movies, and I can see myself reflected in it. So that's my goal.
No, I think you achieved that brilliantly
Thank you.
because at the like we just said, at the end of the day, this isn't just, a gay movie. It is a movie that just happens to be gay,
Yeah.
but it is first and foremost that, and pardon me for the over like cartoonish movements I'm going to do, but it's just sweet, it's warm,
Yep.
it's fuzzy, it's a Christmas movie. And
Yeah.
I think, this is a movie that can be watched by anybody. And I
Yeah.
think that does truly speak to the talents of you as a filmmaker and to the cast and crew as well.
Oh, thank you.
And, I of course I'm gonna, what is it that the kids say? No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I will say this. I will continue to praise this movie because
Oh, thank you.
I, I went into it with my own sets of prerequisite notions, whatever you want to call it. And the
Yeah.
fact that I went away from it thinking, yeah, I actually kind of liked it. I
Oh, good. That's huge, Noah. That's huge. You're not my demo, so if you like it,
it,
that speaks volumes.
like even that, like don't get me wrong, there are times where I as a guy I rolled my eyes, but even then I find myself getting close to their screen going, okay,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen next though? Is she
Yeah.
like come on, like is the like you can't just that like the kid's right there. Come on, you
Right.
gotta work this. Like I found
Yeah, you got
myself
it.
getting invested.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
But anywho, I know you are a very, very busy gal, and I really want to thank you so much for stopping by on Showverse today to talk about your
Yeah.
film.
I wish
Um,
we could talk forever about it,
I
but
know because there's
you
so
know,
much more that I would love to delve into, but
oh,
I know you got other stuff you got to do, but I just want to say once again, thank you. And for those of you watching, link in the description to more details about the movie as well as its release dates across the United States, as well as the direct link to video on demand. And on that note, Kristen, I once again thank you so much for being on Showverse. It means
oh,
a lot to me.
thanks for having me, Noah. Thanks you. I so appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem at all. Take care and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.